So Shukria, we are together again on this last day of the year that we saw many changes in Afghanistan, the year where we saw the fall of Afghanistan and the takeover of the Taliban for the second time. And this is such a poignant moment for you as you reflect on the events of this year, 2021. And I want to ask you what you think lies ahead in the year 2022 for Afghanistan and for you, Shukria.
Well, thank you. It was 2021 was a year full of all challenges. It wasn't the easy year. It was a very difficult. For Afghanistan in particular, we've been suffered from COVID pandemic, and largely we lost lots of lives, and particularly the civilian casualty number was so high when the Taliban was taking over Afghan landscape, and a large number of Afghan security service people pass away and they lost their life. And the fall of government, where we invest and we put all our effort together for the 20 years. It was not only the fall of a government or the collapse of state, it was the fall of values. And that was a historical lesson for those policymakers that they were not measuring their policies based on reality. So I believe we have to learn lessons from what happened, and we have to fix. We shouldn't repeat the same mistakes. For 2022,
so may I go back to your comment, because I think if there is one comment that is an overarching theme of our discussions in the last 3 days, is your constant reference to the values that define you, the values that defined an Afghanistan that you aspired to. You often told me, I will die for the values I believe in. And today, on the last day of 2021, you told me this was not only about the fall of Afghanistan, but it was also the destruction of our values. So can you speak a little bit about that, how the fall of Afghanistan is aligned with and is consistent with the destruction of your values and the values that you hoped for in an Afghanistan in that first post-Taliban era?
When I say it's the fall or destruction of the values, let me start by justice. Where's justice today in Afghanistan? It's been fall. There's no justice anymore. Neither the judiciary system or neither the justice themselves. It's been disappeared, unfortunately. When I'm talking about the values, where's the freedom? A freedom of movement, freedom of choice, freedom of expression. Freedom is very, very cool, basic, fundamental rights in every society. When I'm talking about the values, where are the rights of the people, even individuals, women's, minorities, people in Afghanistan, Afghan citizens with different religion, where they are now?
Where is democracy? Shukria, where is democracy?
What I'm coming, all these means, where's legitimacy? Where is Afghanistan themselves? Where's the voice of Afghanistan? Who's in charge of Afghanistan? Who is the one to maintain and continue those big promises or those values which is what's been built in the last 20 years? I feel really deep sorry in my condolences to all those families, Afghan and non-Afghan, coalition, US, NATO countries, and others, which is they are sons and daughters, sons in Afghanistan, served in Afghanistan, and they lost their life. I feel myself, I'm part of them, that they lost the most dear person in their life, and they will turning back and seeing, for what? This is the, when I don't know, people are talking about the presidents and about the, no, for me, system was important, government was important, the power, sharing power, judiciary, elected body of parliament, and the executive body of the government, those were important, and elected president, despite of who was in.
And that is what you fought for. You fought for that, and you brick by brick built those institutions.
That's why it's hurt
of
me
the
more.
Judiciary, the parliament, the media,
yeah, the women's
and
rights,
civil society.
Civil society, you know, those things which is you're putting all those small little tiny puzzles together to make a beautiful picture with a lot of effort, hope, with a sacrifice. It wasn't an easy journey for me or for any other Afghan women to cross the lines, broke the barrier, break the taboos, speak out and stand up, and being the one that she or he wants to be. We are in a very traditional society. We are different. Our people have completely a different type of mentality. It wasn't an easy task, and it will not be easy even if we move forward. So what is important, it's not only a fall or collapse of one president. It was, to me, the fail of entire world, which is they keep and they bring lots of hope and promises in 2001. They say they're going to win the hearts and minds of Afghan people. They say the nation building and the country building and Marshall Plan will be applied. They say they will make Afghanistan free from terrorists. They say Afghanistan, and there'll be no impunity for the Taliban or other terrorist groups. They say fight against terror. They say Afghanistan is their allies. Where they are, where those promises, where those words, where those commitments. They hand over Afghanistan to the hands of terrorist groups. And right now they're watching and they are showing sympathy with me as a woman. I don't need any kind of sympathy. What that sympathy with may solve. Understanding they should believe one simple wrong decision and means destroying the trust of a nation, discourage them from the international stage of being a powerful, the most great powerful country in the globe.
So you see this as a betrayal, Shukria?
It was and it is betrayal, of course. It was.
It is a breach of trust.
It would be very difficult, again, for Afghans to trust anyone else if they want to cooperate with Afghanistan. Sooner or later, I'm sure, everyone will come back to Afghanistan. They have to turn their face and attention back to Afghanistan because they understand how dangerous it could be if Afghanistan will be alone as it is. That's why the simple mistake brought an extreme chaos. It's not only the matter of life of 40 million or near 40 million.
No.
It is about the global security.
It is the global security and for generations to come, Shukria.
It is the generations after generation. It is about the values. So we cannot say it's just simple thing comes and gone. No.
And how will history judge this moment?
You know, everyone should keep in their mind, maybe not today, but tomorrow, someone will say something right and judge them very blindly and very equally. Because now politics playing more than reality. But
so this is our moment of global reckoning. As you said, this is a test of our values. And the whole world failed Afghanistan and the women of Afghanistan. And you're the conscience, you and Dr. Seema Sama and Fauzia and Nahid, all of you who shed blood and tears and sweat and sacrificed your safety to build Afghanistan, sacrificed the safety of your families to build the nation. It was you. It was, you talk about the promises made by the allies, but it was you who sacrificed your lives.
It's not only my life. What about those soldiers?
Right.
About those,
right.
What about those humanitarians? Great.
Absolutely. All those who were in the front lines in the last 20 years. Yes.
Would try their best and they pay and they put all their effort together and we was been aiming for a greater change, a positive, a constructive change. And it was, and it is a different Afghanistan from yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. You are, you're the symbol of the unfinished business of women's rights in Afghanistan. You are the promise and the future of Afghanistan, but you also are a symbol of what it means to lose Afghanistan, because losing Afghanistan means we lose the voices and the presence of women like you, Shukria.
Of course. I think there's millions of other Afghan brave women.
Absolutely, but you stand as a symbol of Afghan women and their promise and their potential.
No doubt. I will do again and again, no matter in which cost. But I'm not the only one. Mm-hmm. I'm not the there's a
you built a whole movement. Or I think what was so wonderful is that the Afghan women's movement was one of the most powerful women's movements in the world. And you built it out of very little. You built it brick by brick.
Brick by brick, we put all together to build it up. Mm-hmm. Because nothing was, when I start, there was nothing with the name of women's rights or women.
No, there was nothing. No, you were banned. Women's groups were banned. Women's associations were outlawed.
So I start from scratch because my story is different from my other colleagues. Mm-hmm. I was the Taliban inside of Afghanistan. Mm. And I started during Taliban first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You started underground school.
And lots of other things. And when I'm seeing 23 years of hard work, I'm proud about it. But where's the achievement? Again, after 23 years, I'm standing in the same point and having the same basic rights. It is so unfair.
Oh, Shukria, I know. And that is why I think it is so important for us to have this conversation in the waning hours of this year, because as you say, it is our moment. It is our hour of reckoning. And as we move forward to 2022, we want to make sure that the year moves forward with women like you at the forefront, that your voices are both amplified, but that whatever lies in the future is driven by women like you, Shukria. Because, as you know, memories are very fickle, and we tend to forget the progress and the advances made by women like you, Shukria. And that is why at every opportunity, we need to enhance your voices and make sure your stories, your journeys are shared and heard and listened to.
And that's why I want a completely different 2022 for us and for the people of Afghanistan. I don't want Afghanistan to be a forgotten story or a from the globe. I want the women of Afghanistan to shout more, to raise more their voices. I want them to lead their country. This is the time that Afghan women's movement needs to be recognized globally as the only valuable, constructive resistance power in Afghanistan.
This movement continues, Shukria. Yes, it has changed its face because the movement now has become splintered, but the movement continues. You will continue to rebuild globally.
The core, the cause, the reason, it's there, and the shining stars are there.
So how do you, so tell us your vision, give us your ideas so that those ideas and visions can be given, can be dignified, and that the world can recognize those ideas and your vision. So as you said, the stars of the movement, the stars of the Afghan women's movement are still there, shining bright. And as you know, the world turns to you. The world respects your voice, Shukria. So what are your recommendations? What is your call to action for the international community?
It's time for action. It's not anymore time for empty promises.
Yes, it is a time for action.
The action should speak louder than words. And the first is the recognition of that resistant power in Afghanistan with the name of women.
So the power of Afghanistan in the name of women. I like that. I like that title for any kind of action plan.
Yeah. And the second, and very important, is to find a way to not eliminate women from a political power. There's no, they should make global stage for women. A concrete, comprehensive, exclusive platform with a clear action plan, or a broad-based forum for women in Afghanistan.
A global forum.
A global forum with a great political support. All parties, we call cross parties, beyond their differences and policies, there should be something in common globally, and that should be the human rights and women's rights in Afghanistan. It needs to be saved. It needs to be considered. It needs to be stood with.
Because it's the women who are going to save Afghanistan.
It is. I lost my trust in men. We don't have any. I feel bad. We don't have any committed, great leader men for Afghanistan. Look at the parliament. In the last 18 or 17 years in the parliament, who shine more, men or women? except one, Ramazan Bashardos, there's no even a second name. But look at the names of women that they come out from the parliament with a small little window of opportunity. So that means we should rely more on women. We should support more women. We should forget about those theories. No, Afghanistan is not ready for a women leadership. This is the women leaders that they are challenging the most barbaric regime in the world with the name of Taliban. No one else challenged our well-trained, well-equipped national security force. They left Taliban to come and take over. But as the Afghan women are standing on the street and saying, you cannot beat me. I'm here to defend myself. And that is need to be recognized. That is a great symbol for word to believe everywhere weapons or gun is not the weapon to win a war. Commitment is the gun to reach to or to stand
the values. So you know, I go back always, and I have written about this. I have echoed your words where you asked President Barack Obama for 30,000 scholars and 30,000 scientists in the place of 30,000 soldiers. And I think, to me, that is such a powerful vision for nation building. And that's when a woman like you is in the forefront envisioning a new nation. And that's how you think, while men think of, you know, the numbers of soldiers that we need, right? Instead of the numbers of scholars and scientists and engineers who will build this nation. So that is what you're saying. We have to govern with our values. And in a new Afghanistan in 2022, it is that vision. So how can we make sure that the world hears you, Shukria? So you talk about building a forum, you talk about an action plan, a global action plan that sees women who are now all over the world, the Afghan women, bringing them together in building a coalition.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you may come from different political parties and different ethnic groups, you can build common cause for your love of Afghanistan, for love of nation. Yes.
Among women are the greatest, how I could say, the greatest value. The understanding is easy in the solidarity. So if they won't ignore us, I think they experienced.
Right. It's at their peril. It's at their peril.
Women during the peace negotiation time, during the power sharing, during the all kind of important decisions they was been made it, and they sidelined the people of Afghanistan and particularly the women in Afghanistan. And right now they realize, oh, that's women. Oh, they're standing against the Taliban. Oh, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in every province. They are raising the same voice. They are standing. We cannot beat them. So that is why, after 20 years, the US, the State Department, decide to have a special envoy for women's affairs and human affairs for Afghanistan.
So you need to do it at two levels. One is mobilize the women right now in Afghanistan, and then the women outside, the leaders who have had to flee because of the fear of the threats against their lives. You left unwillingly, Shukria. You were forced to leave.
Of course. It was
right?
A great.
You're a reluctant Afghan in exile. This was not something that you ever wanted. And so we have to do it at both, right? Both on the ground and then outside, and then make sure that the work that you have begun continues, whether it is continuing with underground schools. You know, you created a blueprint, Shukria. So your work, you know, pardon me when I say I don't share your view that your work is wasted. No, the work that you began will go on. It has stalled, but it will go on. So you built a blueprint of underground schools, and now I think that is beginning to slowly emerge.
Yes, that is why in some provinces still people start like that, and some people from outside, even I like to go back in. If there's an online opportunity for me, I love to go and teach again online.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that is what we have to begin, those online educational platforms. So I do want to help you create that, an online platform where, with the assistance of major corporations here in the United States, as well as help from the public sector, that you continue to be a voice that will inspire a growing generation, an emerging generation of Afghan women.
Those voices need to be heard. So it's not the time that they will cheers Afghan women with a trophy, with the award, with the titles. No, this is not the time.
No,
this is
no. It's no, that time is over. You don't need any more awards. You have enough awards, Shukria.
More than it. More than
you never asked for awards. The awards were showered on you.
I never asked for. Even most of the time, I was not been aware. For instance,
Love that.
policy was give me the title of thinker. It's a privilege. When the came was add my name and the list of 2,000 influence and a thinker globally.
Global thinker.
And ideas and a different. So that's an honor for me. It's not only for me, for women.
For women, and that's important. Women need to be recognized, because most often history erases women. Men write the histories and women are erased. So it is important that women like you are recognized. But as you said, now the time has come when you have to move beyond that to real action.
So it is time for the real action, really. And that's why I start with the platform, with the forum, with the support online, outline, on the ground, particularly for the education and bringing back women. I'm so proud about the lobby I start in the last 3.5 months, and I see the result of that. I remember when first I raised the issue of a few things, and nobody was taking it seriously, even among our own women's network. Or Afghan Women's Forum, there's something established and informally. So when I say that things needs to be done, first, that was I was been asking the humanitarian aids and needs to be beyond the political differences. It shouldn't play any politics, but it should give the opportunity for those women, which is they lost their job because of the Taliban. And that's why we need women and the non-governmental organization to be empowered and to be back in the system and to just keep that balance as much as we have.
Economic resources. But I also feel the women's political participation is key. So, you know, I would like to suggest an Afghan government in exile that is led by women, and a UN recognition of this Afghan government in exile. Sure.
Yeah. It will be a new political platform. It wouldn't be a platform to be thirsty for the political power. No, it will be a platform to just build the values with a clear points of view and vision, with a clear goal, how to be achieved and how to reach there. And the second
so this platform would be for the future of Afghanistan, and a transition, the power transition. Because I think it is important to envision what I call the transitional justice period can look like.
Don't remind me transitional justice. Because everything was been played in my country, everything. I remember when in Oslo Forum, one of the distinguished member from the International Justice, International Crime Court, ICC.
Yes, from the ICC.
Yeah, is that
the International Criminal Court, right?
The Criminal Court, yeah.
Yeah.
It was been asking the government of Afghanistan to ratify a few things, yes, and let them their delegation to go for investigation. And I asked our Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, because he was representing Afghanistan, I say, this is very important. Go for a meeting. And he asked me, would you kindly can go, because our government is not ready to do that. And I say, shame on you, shame on your government. This was my word. And I say, without justice, why we should let others or criminals? But anyway, so.
But Shukria, just all of this is a reminder to me of your courage.
I was
speak like this to the main leaders of Afghanistan. Here you are, a woman.
You know, that deputy minister wasn't that someone like a very educated, good person. I knew that he can tolerate, because he also believed values justice.
Right. And he respected you, and you had earned your respect.
Yes, I say in front of lots of warlords, most harsh things in front of them and their face, because those things needs to be practiced and it's need to be said. So I don't want the transitional justice project or copy of that. Few things needs to be done. First, we have to bring women into society back, no matter how hard, how difficult it will be. But if the government of Taliban or the regime of Taliban are not ready, the non-governmental should fill this gap. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a good end. And the second, there should be a talk. Taliban is like elephant in the room. We have to confront them. They have to listen to us.
Right.
There's no voice.
Absolutely. It is the elephant in the room. Everyone is avoiding it, right?
Yes.
But you have to confront them. You have to confront the reality.
The reality, and we have to be sitting with them, and we have to make them hold them accountable for their action back in Afghanistan, because they also signed Doha Agreement, which is that agreement is international. So kind of obligations to that agreement. So politically, we need to put Taliban in the position to be responsible and to hold them accountable for their action. And that required talks, direct talks between, especially I prefer a great conference or a constant talk between Afghan women and Taliban, not women as a symbol, a real women with the voices. It shouldn't be anymore a group of women to represent women in Afghanistan with the silence. No, we want the women ideas to be raised and the issues to be talked. This is important. Enough is enough. I'm fed up of all symbolism. Symbolism somewhere is good, but not always. And the third important part is,
you know, your every word that you utter is so powerful, but among those powerful words, there are some that really stand out. I'm fed up with symbols. You know, and I can understand what President Bush would have felt when you told him, why have you brought warlordism back, Mr. President? You know, the way in which you articulate your vision and your values is so powerful. And there is a certain elegance and simplicity to the way in which you utter those words. Shukria.
Yeah, and the other third important thing is, it's a new Afghanistan, not only for the people of Afghanistan. And that new Afghanistan needs to be globally. People should deal, because if we want or not, Afghanistan is important. We shouldn't let Afghanistan to be the hands of terrorist groups or networks back. We shouldn't let Afghanistan to be spoiled by Chinese. We shouldn't let Afghanistan confront another, the third power to come and occupy, because for me, it is very concerning. It is very concerning. The connectivity that Afghanistan could be used for, between the bridge between Central Asia and South Asia, the minerals and the nature of Afghanistan. It could be, if you use it constructive way, you will see a great result. But if you put it, or if it goes in the wrong hand, it will be a cancer. It will be a cancer, and that cancer will move around the globe, and it will affect the entire body of this globe. We can
see
metastasize.
It will metastasize. I can't agree with you more, but do you think that this is just a utopian dream? And we talked about how we both believe in utopia, that Afghanistan might, if women are brought to the forefront, women both in and outside of Afghanistan help in reclaiming Afghanistan, that Afghanistan might even be stronger than what it was. Because I think this moment in time shows, as you said, the failure of leadership, the failure of the old leadership, right? Both the failure of the Taliban leadership, but also the failure of the old leadership. And so if women like you reclaim Afghanistan, reclaim their nation, it might even be a moment of real transition.
Well, we need that. The third point I would like to raise and talk, there should be a transition period. Not jump. We cannot jump. We cannot ignore the reality and the complex of politics, ethnicity inside of Afghanistan, and of course, great game which is going to be played by others under the name of fundamentalism. So, but if we don't prepare ourselves for a period of transition, that will make cause more damage, because the period of transition will make a kind of soft transition, a harsh, barbaric, hard way, with a platform, with working with the minds of people, and with a great political settlement, a very nice, good, it was a very shaky takeoff, but we need a smooth landing. I believe Afghanistan is like now, is like an airplane, which is lots of storm is in front of it. So it's but that needs a management, a great pilot, a great technician, a great people with experience for the very calm, soft landing to be prepared. So this is what I believe, and that means that period should be named with the name of transition period. And that period, I believe, it could happen, because few things are happening right now in Afghanistan politically, which is we cannot undermine. Number one, the threat of Taliban. Number two, the threat of Al-Qaeda. Number three, the threat of Haqqani network. Number four, other terrorist networks, which is including ISK, which is they are playing a very strange type of game inside of Afghanistan. So they are coming with a different messages. They are bringing a different type of ideology, and they are making people to be brainwashed, and they are trying to find soldiers for them because they had the money, they had the experience, and they know how to use the poverty, they know how to play the cards and the name of religion, and they are familiar with the geography of Afghanistan. So that is very, very, very worrying things. And that's why we need a more exclusive body for that transition period. And we should move on for a real where the people of Afghanistan should be a decision maker for their future. We shouldn't let anyone.
So yeah, so the people of Afghanistan must be the decision makers. And as you said, with all of these, dynamics taking place, the entire humanity is at risk. It's not just Afghanistan. It's not just the Afghan people. Humanity is at risk.
Why the disease? The cancerous diseases start to destroy one's cells. If it's not been diagnosed timely, it will go beyond. It will cover. It will when you are opening your eyes, it's a different situation. Even the treatment will be difficult, expensive, costly, and it will take lots of time and full of risk. Why not when that disease is just a small, it's been diagnosed already. It's the time for treatment. We should let that earth to be healed from war. For how long we should be witness of this bloodshed everywhere? For how long the people blood should make money for greater companies? For how long humanity should be undermined for politics? This is the time that we should think different. It's not 18th century, 19th century, and it's not 20th century, it's 21st century. In 21st century, we don't need 1 million people to be joined the armed force. We need today world and technology is working with the smart intelligence. Why not? Why not? Why we should go and make our minds busy with something very unique what was in 18th century. This is very bad feeling when I'm thinking we are living practically, we are in the 21st century, but by mentality, ideas, and values, we are in the 18th century.
We are the 18th. So this is the time for new thinking. I like how you say we are in the 21st century, still being overshadowed and dogged by the 18th century views of how to resolve conflict.
This is how we need a very good period for the transition, and that transition with the absence of women. The today manifest of resistance in Afghanistan is the women that they are leading, and they read that manifest: freedom, rights, justice, food. So we should.
So I want to end this conversation by celebrating you, by honoring you, but also what you just shared with me, the need for a women's manifesto for Afghanistan, a women's manifesto for the future of Afghanistan. And that is really your last call to action during this transition period, that you have to develop, bring women leaders both in Afghanistan and outside Afghanistan together to develop a women's manifesto for the future of Afghanistan.
This is very necessary and very important.
So Shukria, hard as this is, hard as this conversation was for you, to go through your own personal history, because your personal history is so entangled with the political history of Afghanistan. And they are inextricably interlinked. We cannot de-link your history, your journey with Afghanistan's journey in the last 20 years or more, because you were there even before the Afghanistan as we now know existed. However difficult it was for you, I think out of your journey, out of your tears, you shed many tears during this conversation, comes an important message to the world. And I think that message is one that needs to be heard. And I am so encouraged and I'm so grateful to end this year on that note of a hopeful message from you, Shukria. And I want the world, especially the next generation of leaders in the United States and around the world, to be able to honor your journey by rising to the challenge.
Yes.
That you have made clear to us. This is the greatest challenge facing us as we embark on a new year.
I wish this new year bring the lights of hope.
And on that note of a light of hope, I wish you a very happy new year. I salute your courage, Shukria, and I know that a new era for you will begin. Outside of Afghanistan, you will continue to build Afghanistan from within. Thank you, Shukria.
So much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being patient. Most important.
This was my privilege, and I look forward to working very, very closely with you as we continue this conversation, but continue to work together.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, stay safe.